into it officially. Beat it out, man. Beat it out. Well, I hope you didn't mind me doing a bit of tap dancing there. I was just tapping along to my friend Bill.
You were just practicing, were you?
I was just practicing. I was just warming up those happy feet.
Oh, yes.
So, welcome everybody to Swing at Sway. And tonight, we're going back to the 1920s. We're travelling back to the 1920s to the popular
100 years
parades.
ago.
100 years ago. My gosh, that's...
a lot of time.
That's a lot of time. Does anyone remember it? Do you know, I've got to tell you something funny. We used to perform, we still do, but not recently. We used to perform in old people's homes. And when I first started, I used to go, who remembers the 1920s? And people would put their hands up, but no longer.
No longer. Now you're saying 30s, no one remembers. 40s, nobody.
Well, no,
no,
they do remember. we did have that lady who was over 100.
We did.
One of the last
yes.
jobs we did not so long ago.
Yeah.
And at the Chelsea Pensioners, we got quite a few old uns who remembered quite a bit.
Yeah, but even if they're 100, they can't remember very much of the 20s, can they?
No, that's true, that's true. Right, so, did I tell you, actually just getting distracted,
already?
I once met
just started the show.
England's oldest man. He's passed away now, Harry. He was over 100 and, he was like 111 when I met him or something.
Yeah.
And he was like
dancing?
the last, well...
in his heart.
In his heart he was. He was in a wheelchair. But when he saw me in my red zoo suit, he said, tally-ho! Anyway, we digress. This is Swing at Sway. We are Simon and Anna.
And this is the hit parade of the 1920s. Get ready for some music from the 20s. We'll mix in a few later tunes as well, just to keep the sway feeling. But we'll talk a lot about the 1920s.
Yes, and if you were here at the very beginning on YouTube, you would have heard a little burst of this. So they had a bit of Al Jolson. But what amazes me that you had Al Jolson on one end of the spectrum. And then you had, and another song I played earlier.
Mind the sound.
Who else could be that trumpet be? Yes, none other than the wonderful Louis Armstrong. So it's funny how you had popular hits. I mean, Al Jolson was the hit parade. He was the number one. He had so many songs in the hit parade on one end of the spectrum. And then you had Louis Armstrong, who was to a more exclusive audience. But he was one of the first to really, one of the black musicians to start playing in mixed
Audiences.
mixed bands and mixed audiences.
Yes,
So that was he was breaking ground. So both fantastic in their own right and in their different ways.
Own genres.
Now, as normal, we're going to do a little warm up, but we're going to do a different warm up today. I was inspired.
You want to say hello to people?
Oh yes, let's say hello to people.
We're not just two of us. There's Sue who's here.
Hello,
and
Sue.
Who's looking
How
for
do you
some
do?
1920s tunes.
Fantastic.
We got Glenn who's practiced his flapperies.
Fantastic.
And Julia, who's saying good evening indeed. And on Facebook, let's not forget Facebook, we have John, we have Ingrid, we have Barbara.
Barbara, woo!
Oh, wow, hello.
Lovely to see you.
And we got
Fantastic.
Virginia who's joined us. What a crowd.
What a crowd. We have a great crowd. We are going to do a little warm up. So let me tell you what happens. If it's your first time to this show, let us know. Let us know where you're from. And are there any dancers out there? Is there any dancers out there? I think we have one or two, mind you.
Yeah, one or two.
Yeah, we probably have one or two, don't we? So, Barbara, I haven't seen you for a long time, but I hope you're doing well. Barbara Amberlips is a famous jazz dancer from, I'd say the 50s, really, but I think, that period. And lovely to see you.
From Harlem, New York?
From Harlem, New York, yes. So, are you ready? We're going to do our little warm-up. And today we're going to go into a sort of Charleston and Black Bottom routine.
Ooh.
Now, we normally do a little stroll at the very beginning, but we're going to get everybody up. We want everyone to join in. But today we've been inspired by a dancer who was actually really big in the 50s, but she did the 1920s. She did a great shimmy, none other than Sherry North. So our routine is inspired by her. But we're going to start with 3 Charleston steps. Now you know the rhythm is a step and a tap and a step and a tap and a step and a tap. So let's do that. We're going to step forward on our left foot. So everybody join us. Step and tap, a step and tap, and a step and tap, a step and tap. We do 3 of these routines, a step and tap. But then of course, actually I tell a lie, we're actually going to do 4 of those Charleston steps. So
You're
4
trying
of them.
to trick us, Simon.
And for those who are a little bit more experienced, and I know 1 or 2 of you are, you can add some twizzly feet. Would you like to demonstrate the twizzly feet?
Oh, right. Well, I would have put on my dance shoes if I know. 1, 2, oh, maybe
See those feet going?
I should face people, shouldn't I?
Oh yes, absolutely. So if you can add the twizzly feet, you go ahead and add it. If not, just do the basic step and tap, step and tap. So we do that 4 times. How many times?
4.
Correct. Now, we're then going to go into 2 hot thumbs. Well, it's a black bottom classic. So we lick, not literally, because you don't get wet, but you lick and you lick and give me that hot thumb, show the butt. Yeah.
Show the
going
what?
to show the begins with a B, you know what I mean. Now, we do 4 Charleston, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 2, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Everyone off that couch, come and join us, swing those arms. 4, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Hot thumbs. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We're now going to do a forward, forward, back, back. It goes forward, forward, back, back. And at the same time, we go slap, a cheek, a cheek. Very cheeky. We go forward, forward, a back, a back. Let's do that together. We go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then we're going to speed it up a little bit and go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Double time.
Double time. So we do slows and quicks. So we do that twice through. Together we go slow, 2, 3, and quicks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Repeat. Slow, 2, 3, 4. A quick 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Gosh, can you remember all this? Don't know if I can.
Just about.
We do 4 Charleston. How many Charleston?
4.
Yes, there was a clue because I just told you. Then we do 2 sets of hot thumbs. Then we're going to do 2 sets of forward and backs. Shall we? Let's just carry on. We're going to go into the black bottom step, the famous black bottom step. We go floor, floor, cheek, cheek, shoulder, shoulder, sky, sky. Now, if you really want to get some styling, you want to think stepping out onto each foot as you do it. You go right and left, right and left, right and left, right, left. And you want to always be bending one leg. Try to avoid going down on straight legs unless you're a Broadway.
tempting.
Unless you're a Broadway dancer or you've got really good strong core muscles, because that's quite a strain on the back and the legs. So
don't do it, you might not get up.
Exactly, you can get there. Now, if you're my age, you may want to take it a little bit
21.
easier, and you may want to just bend both the knees. That's what I sometimes do when the music gets quicker. But if you can, add the side stepping. Now, I forgot to mention at the beginning, all this routine is actually from one of our Mind Body Swing videos. It's actually free on YouTube. It's number 20. So if you want to...
For the 20s.
For the 20, yes.
Number 20 for the 20s.
Quite right. And if you want to check it out, we do a 5 little sequences, Mind Body Swing on YouTube, on our membership site. So this is actually what what you can find on our YouTube. I'll say that again, shall I? Because I just said it 3 times. I'm not quite sure what I'm saying.
Try to
really.
tell them. Try to tell them.
You tell them, Anna.
You get free videos for 20-30 minutes to really start up your day, or when you have a break during your day, to breathe, to have thoughts of the day, to warm up a little, to get dancing and to stretch. So check them out, Mind Body Swing on youtube.com/SwingdanceUK.
Cool. Right,
The promotion's
advert over.
over.
Yes. Let's get back to the routine. So we're going to do our black bottom step. So we think right hand, reach over. Left hand, reach over. Right hand, reach back. Left hand, reach back. Right shoulder, left shoulder, freeze. A really strong position, flat, nice and solid, and flap. So much fun, we're going to do it twice. We go 2, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 3, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now we've got a problem. Houston, we have a problem. Let's turn around. The problem is my next step, I take my hands out and I do jazz hands. But of course, poor Anna's in the way and she doesn't want to get clobbered. So be careful. If you haven't got the space around you, just know what you're going to do. Yeah, we can bring the hands low.
You can shimmy them down.
You know,
You
why
need
didn't
my
I think
help,
of that?
don't you?
This is why Anna's here, because this is why she gets paid the big bucks, folks, because she has these wonderful ideas. Fantastic. So we can shimmy our hands, a sugar foot, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we're going to add a twist, a sugar foot we call it. And twist really up on the toes, a twist, 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 twist. So we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Do you know that was so much fun? Let's repeat it. So we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 2, 2, 3, 4, 5, and actually now we do our sugar foot. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Then repeat. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 2, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 3, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Are we there?
We're there.
Fantastic.
Should
We
we
have
all
only
together?
we've only got one step left.
Oh, we have one step.
We've got to do the last step.
There's one more step.
So, well, actually, I say one step, it's actually 2 steps, but it's a phrase. So it's 2
3
steps.
Charleston that are 4. Anyway.
Anyway, we're going to do a pump, a pump, a pump, pump, a pump, 6 times total pump. And Anna's favourite step, which I will demonstrate for her, a wiggle.
Woo!
Sometimes known as the worm, but we will call it the wiggle today.
We
So we
keep
jump
twisting.
up, everyone jump, arms in the air, and wiggle all the way down. Okay, so we go pump, 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 2 more, 1, 2, and wiggle 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then we start all over again from the tippity top. Shall we demonstrate it? Now this routine, actually, you know what? We could turn on the wiggle, couldn't we? Oh, adding to it. My gosh, the creation, it just happens. We are going to add a turn. We are going to turn a quarter turn to our right and repeat the whole routine. And I'm watching you. You be careful. Are you ready? Let's do it together. 5, 6, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And do the flashy one. I'll do the plain. 3, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 4, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 2, 2. Sizzle. 5, 6, 7. Forward, forward, back, back. 1, 2, 3, 4, and repeat. Forward, forward, back, back. 1, 2, 3, 4, back, bottom next. And floor, floor, cheek, cheek, shoulder, shoulder, jazz hands. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Floor, floor, cheek, cheek, shoulder, shoulder, jazz hands. 1, 2, 3, 4. Last step. Pump, pump, start again. I think we've got it.
Let's have some music.
Okay,
then.
let's have some music.
Susie's been
Now,
waiting
we've had a
for
couple of
20
messages. Do you want to just see what the messages say, Anna?
All right. So, do we have messages on Facebook? No messages, but new people. We have Annalie joining us, and we have Ictus.
Ictus, oh, Ictus,
Based
I
in
hope you're doing
France.
this routine with your own style.
On YouTube, we have Katrine who says hello to you, Katrine. We have Stephen who is looking forward to the show. And
See if they say that at the end.
Lorraine. Yeah, well, we'll see.
See if they say that at the
Any
end.
regrets? And Gregory joining us from Frankfurt.
Right, fantastic. Oh, we've got an international crowd in today.
Absolutely.
Top international crowd. Okay, the music is called Jasmine Blues. It's by the Wolverine Orchestra, and it is actually 1924. My gosh, that's almost as old as you, Anna. 24, I mean. 1924. So are you ready? Let's dance some Jasmine Blues. From the top. 2, 3, 4. Hot thumbs. And forward. Double time. One more time. Slow. Black bottom. Jazz hands. Drop. Bumps. Turn and wiggle. Everybody in Charleston. Hot thumbs. Double time. Well, that was a nice easy routine. It was a little bit slow, that music, but it was okay, wasn't it?
It was enjoyable. It's a lovely tune.
Give us a thumbs up if you did the routine. Give us a
Any thumbs flying on
Give us a
YouTube,
heart
Facebook?
if you were just sitting there eating your cake, drinking a cup of tea and just watching us do the routine.
Yeah, just want to tell you, this is not football. This is not for watching with a pizza. It's for getting up and dancing with us.
Yes, even if you're sitting on your couch, I hope you're swinging those arms and legs around. Do you know, we did an older person's home, and there was this lady who turned out to be 100, we didn't know that at the time. Lovely professional dancer she turned out to be, because I was watching her. She was sitting down. She couldn't really stand up that well, so she was sitting down, but under the table I saw her feet doing all the steps we were doing, and she had this beautiful
Oh,
posture, absolutely
amazing.
So
yeah.
I said to her, and I said,
So elegant.
let's go and talk to this lady, because there's something about her that just tells me she's probably a bit of a dancer. I said, I bet you were a bit of a dancer, were you? And what did she say?
She was a tiller girl.
She was a tiller girl back in the 30s and 40s, yes.
Actually in the 50s.
In the
because
50s.
she had children during the war. She was a tiller girl after that, apparently.
So there you are. We could tell, couldn't we?
Amazing.
So, and who were the tiller girls?
The Tiller Girl, the legendary chorus line troupe from the Palladium Theatre in London. I mean, they toured all over, but the Palladium was their home, and they were known for their precision dancing. They were exactly
Like us.
Exactly like us.
Precision dancing. Right.
You can see them on Sunday at the Palladium, can't you?
That's true.
Don't you have a class to demonstrate?
No, well, that
Not
sort of was
today.
the class. I combined it today.
Oh, I see.
So I combined it. So I was
clever.
revolutionary.
I see.
Revolutionary. So,
2 in 1.
we got a few thumbs up, which means people are joining in. Fantastic. And
1 for the price of 2.
1 for the price of 2, yes. 1 for the price of 2. Now, tonight's show is about the hit parade. So I want to know, does anyone remember the show in England called Top of the Pops? Does anyone
And we don't
remember
need-
Top of the Pops?
Pops is not Louis Armstrong in this case.
No, not Louis Armstrong in this case.
Top of the Pops.
Top of the Pops was a British music show that featured the sort of the chart toppers. And because when I thought of hit parade, I thought of chart
Top of
toppers.
Pops.
And I looked back and I found that it actually ran from 1964. So
64? I thought
it was
you told
only
me in the
64.
50s.
No, that was
Oh,
another
sorry.
show.
Oh,
so
that's
it
another
only
show.
ran from 1964, and I thought it had been going longer actually. So that's quite interesting. So who else remembers Top of the Pops? I think it finished in 2006, but it wasn't so big at the end because basically, iTunes took over, I guess. But before that, you're thinking of Pick of the Pops.
Yes, that's what I was thinking about.
Pick
That's
of
the
the
one I
Pops.
remember.
That's the one you remember.
Of course.
It started in 1955.
Yeah, that's the one.
But that was a radio show. That was the BBC's radio show.
Where's
Does
my
anyone
mind?
remember Pick of the Pops? They're all too young, this crowd.
Anthony says,
Okay.
yes, of course.
Yes, of course. He was a mere
Babe.
a mere babe, but he remembers it well. Okay, so we are going to play lots of 1920s music. This one is actually 1929, and it's by Ruth Etting, and I just love it because it's a little bit of Betty Boop. I mean, you just have to hear it. It was Betty Boop, the famous cartoon, 1920s. So, do you want to take a rest or you want to dance?
Let's dance.
Okay. Everyone up, let's dance.
You belong to me. Oh, eat an apple every day. Get to bed by 3. Take good care of yourself. You belong to me. Be careful crossing the street. Ooh, ooh, don't eat me. Ooh, ooh, cut out the meat. Ooh, you get a pain in you and your tum-tum. Keep away from foods like these when you're on a take good care of yourself. You belong to me. Don't sit on hornet's tail, ooh, or on nail, ooh,
Yes, the 1920s. That was 1929. So this is our pick of the pops from 1920s. And of course, you had all sorts of famous people back then. You had the wonderful popular blues singers. You had Mamie Smith, Ma Rainey, Bessie Smith, Blind Lemon Jefferson. You know, you had
Lemon Jefferson.
Oh yes,
What a name!
Well, he was groundbreaking in his recordings, and they were some of the first stars. And then, of course, you had the popular Broadway stars. Now, we've already mentioned what was his name? Al Jolson. Who was in the first talkie. However, did you know, folks?
No, I didn't.
The first talkie.
I didn't.
The first talkie movie was Al Jolson, but there were two talkie shorts before that from, in fact, 1923-24. Now, I never knew that.
That's very
fascinating, isn't it? Fascinating.
So what was in those talkies?
Well, they were shorts. They were like little short films rather than whole films.
Were there... Was there music and dancing, or were there...
I don't know. I'm too young. I don't remember. But what I did find out was that
you come
when I was
up
doing
with new knowledge.
I was doing some research.
to
Maybe
quiz you.
somebody remembers seeing some of those early films. What does Anthony say? Oh, Pam's
so
People. Yes,
Or
that was funny.
Was Flick Colby in the dance troupe then?
Is that Lorraine?
And with Pam's People.
Pam's People. Yes.
What's Pam's People?
Pam's People was that Arlene Phillips, who became a judge. She used to lead a troupe called Pam's People on Top of the Pops. They were dreadful dancing, really, if I'm honest. It was leotards and lots of hair and lots of posing and
70s, 80s?
I think 80s. I don't know, actually maybe 70s. I don't know. Who remembers Pam's People? What year were they? Somebody can do their research and tell us. Who else has joined us on Facebook, Anna?
We've got Catherine, who's online, and Lorraine. Anthony's here, of course, and Jamie.
Jamie, hello,
is online
Jamie.
as
How
well.
are you?
Bernadette, welcome back. So lovely to have a nice crowd. Now, what's happening on YouTube, Simon?
Well, Glenn says, great outfit, guys. Quiz question. Which hairstyling technique features in lyrics of the time? Well, are we talking...
Oh, in lyrics.
In lyrics. Are we talking about the bob?
Maybe.
Are we talking
But
about
is it
Louise
mentioned
Brooks?
in lyrics?
Because if it was...
You have a story, but let's read the question.
Okay, read the question. I want to tell you my story about
Yeah,
Louise
no,
Brooks.
we're coming there. Talking about hairstyles, Simon has a story. But I'm not sure I understand the question, Glenn. Do you mean there's some songs who mention hairstyles? Is that what you're saying? Is that what I'm understanding?
I don't know. Glenn, elaborate. Give us some more detail.
Glenn was playing with song...
hairstyling techniques.
Song lyrics,
Well, they
that's
used to do the wave, didn't they? The little sort of the wave
It was
in
the
the
wave,
hair. I don't know what you
bob,
call it.
I
do know.
the finger waves.
The finger waves.
Finger
exactly.
waves.
Like this. I think they used to do this. Finger waves.
Is that right?
Yeah, I think that's how they
it's
did
because
it.
you push with a finger.
Okay. And Sue says 70s. I saw them once. I think she's talking about Pam's People.
Yeah.
I saw them live at a party for a Saudi prince. Sue, what were you doing at a party for a Saudi prince? There's more to Sue than meets the eye. So all I can say is, right.
And Bernadette also.
What's the
reacts to
wave called?
Pam's
Finger
People.
wave.
Okay, so Pam's People, 1970s, swiftly followed by Legs and Company.
Yes, just like our legs, just like my legs. I know. Yes, exactly. Do you know? I've got to say, well, thank you, Glenn, for mentioning how we're dressed. I have to be really careful because when I dance with Anna and she's in this mood, I have to be really careful not to get the beads in the eye. It can be quite dangerous. She swings them around. In fact, last time we went out dancing, 3 musicians were off the stage when she caught their instruments with the beads. It was frightening. Anyway.
Did you see Fred Astaire get slapped by Ginger's beads?
I didn't, but I
movie.
heard all about it. Yes, that's...
Well, not
that's
slap
terrible.
it, yeah.
I think, okay, so shall we go...
Well, now, Simon, you promised us a story.
Oh, I promised you a
So
story.
we're talking about the bob.
Well, I may have mentioned this before, actually, but my cousin was a hairdresser.
Your American cousin.
Well, no, he was English.
Well, he was English. He went off to America.
He went off to America with his mum, who was my grandpa's sister. Mm-hmm. And he got into hairdressing, and he started off in New York, and this young actress walked in who said, I want something different. And he did the Louise bob for Louise Brooks.
Amazing.
That was his first thing. Then he got even more famous because he wasn't really known for that. He just said that. Yeah, but he did. I think it was Katharine Hepburn in a Broadway show. He did the hair for her, or something like that.
Katharine Hepburn or Audrey Hepburn?
Katharine Hepburn. Anyway, whoever was
They're both
around.
very good.
Whoever was around in the 30s. Anyway,
Not Audrey Hepburn.
Not Audrey Hepburn.
Katharine
No,
Hepburn,
Katharine
but I'm
Hepburn.
not sure she was in musicals. That's why.
No, in a play. She was in a play, and
in a play.
he did the hair for her.
Ah.
And when she went to New York, when she went to Los Angeles to the film industry, she said, "I want this hairdresser bought out." So he went over and he joined a company called, I think it was MGM, and he was their leading hairdresser for like
Years.
for
And years.
decades, for like 40, 50 years. He was the first hairdresser to be credited on screen.
That's impressive, especially
So-
in the world of Hollywood.
In the world of Hollywood.
And he has quite a few trophies.
He has quite a few
It's,
trophies.
yeah.
He did the
He
hair.
had quite a good autograph book, didn't he?
Yes, he did the hair for Marilyn Monroe's funeral because he was good friends with her.
That's-
Saw her a couple of days before she died. He also did the hair for Grace Kelly. I think when she got married, I
wow.
believe, if I'm not mistaken. So anyway,
And his
unfortunately,
name was?
Sidney Gilleroff.
And
Unfortunately,
you
I
can read his autobiography.
yes, he's got very good autobiography.
Crowning Glory.
And that's how I know about him because I never actually met him,
Yeah, you never met him.
unfortunately, but I read about him. But the funny thing is, there's a picture of his mum, and she looks. You can see that she was the sister of my grandpa because they look identical. It's really, they were almost twins, but not. Right, should we play some music?
Oh, yes, last few comments about the bobs and the Marcel after the hairdresser.
The Marcel hair wave.
It
Yes.
was sorry. Well done, Mary Marceling. And Sue says it was the Princess' 21st birthday party, and you were at the university with them.
Wow.
Amazing.
Well, you see, the people we get on this show are like no other
Quality,
people.
quality.
Quality people. I think we ought to go for a bit of boogie woogie.
I think we should.
It's not 1920s, but we're going to go a little bit more recent, well, 1950s, with Big Joe Turner, Boogie Woogie Country Girl.
Well, over you, down the red chicken straight. If you be my boogie country girl. What I mean, my boogie country girl. Now you dig that music with a beat, rock and rollin'. Is the beat my boogie country girl. What I mean, my boogie country girl. On Saturday night she comes down to make a jukebox and let the hair on down. My boogie country girl. What I mean, my boogie country girl. Now roll! She beats some cherry, she can milk a cow. Don't like squares, go daddy to the house. Boogie country girl. What I mean, my boogie country girl. She's up every morning by 8:35. So let's go fishing 'cause it keeps you alive. Boogie country girl. Well, my boogie country girl. Now when she thinks that she hang around, keep my baby 'cause it really goes down. My boogie country girl. Well, you think you ought to be a boogie country girl. Yeah, swing man, that's a good rockin' man. Yeah, we need something rockin'. I love something rockin'. Yeah,
Wookie Wookie Country Road. Big Joe Turner. Now,
Not from the 20s.
not from the 20s, although I guess he was probably born maybe in the 20s.
Yes.
We had,
That counts then.
in America, we had your hit parade. Now, that was an interesting show because, again, it used to report on the chart toppers of the day, but it only went from 1935. It only went from 1935 to 1953 on radio, and then it switched to TV from 1950 to 1959. But the interesting thing is, there was always, they never quite told you how they picked their chart toppers. So one does wonder if there was a little bit of
Promotion.
promotion going on. Yeah. So that was called Hit Parade. Did anyone see, any of our American cousins ever see the American radio and television program Hit Parade? Was it good? I know it was sponsored by Lucky Strike Tobacco. I bet they had great fun killing themselves. So, yes. So that was the Hit Parade. So let's have another little taste. Now, I've got a load of 20s music here. I'm going to play you a few snippets. Of course, 1924, I believe, you had this song come out. And well, when I say song, it's more of a concert, really. Oh, I love this.
24. Very early.
We won't listen to the whole thing because it's like 12
It's
minutes
going
long.
to take the whole show.
And then, of course...
And that was, of course...
That was, of course, George Gershwin, Rhapsody in Blue. And I used to, when I was young, I loved that. I had the record, and I really used to enjoy wearing that one out. You, of course...
I never knew it was from the 20s. I thought it would be a bit later, but yeah, I've learned something.
Yeah.
I guess they associate it with the Gene Kelly movies.
Yes, well, I forget the exact year. Maybe someone can check for us. What was the exact year it came out? So I didn't find any pop parade for the 1920s. Maybe there is one. Somebody could tell me. So I made my own one. No, well, there were some sites where they said the songs, the number one was like Swanee with Al Jolson, but it didn't say what year. Yeah. I don't know how, but there obviously were some things that were popular.
Popular songs of the 20s.
Of course, this was another popular one. This was one of the great songs from the 1920s. I'm just going to give you a little blast because I don't know if we want to play the whole thing, unless you request it, folks, for a little bit of this. So.
T for Texas, T for Tennessee. T for Texas, T for Tennessee. T for Selmon, that gal that made a red colony.
Class, super class.
If you don't want me, mama, you sure don't have to stop. Oh, no.
Right, that's enough of that. So there was some pretty good yodeling going on in the old hillbilly tradition because the hillbilly music was actually quite in vogue back then for some people. I guess if you were from Texas or Tennessee.
Today you have all sorts of tastes.
Yeah, so it's quite interesting. But then
all sorts of fashions.
And then you had that on one hand, and then of course you had this, which is another classic.
You need to tell us what it is, Sam.
Okay, the last one was called Blue Yodel, T for Texas, by Jimmy Rogers. And this one, well, let me play it first, then I'll tell you who it is.
Okay.
You know, that's another classic. Old Man River, Paul Robeson. I mean, what a voice. What a voice. But, you know, it's interesting. Enrico Caruso, all these tenors and the deep voices of people like Paul Robeson, they were very much pop artists in the day. I remember my mother telling me that my father used to, in a fake tenor voice, used to fake Italian when they were like traveling somewhere. When he was courting her, he would do some fake tenor singing, singing a very deep voice.
Oh, just like you.
Just like me. And he'd do some fake Italian, because obviously he couldn't speak Italian. And it was the vogue back in those days. It's quite interesting.
Well, that wasn't the 20s.
No, that wasn't the 20s. Have we got?
And we are back on Facebook. Apologies. Apparently, the top of the pops from the 20s are still top of the pops because Facebook is blocking the music.
Well,
it's too popular what you're playing, Simon.
Well,
but Catherine is back, and I see that Catherine is both on YouTube and on Facebook.
Oh right.
So thank you for following.
She's keen.
And she said that her parents got married in May 1926. And she wonders what was popular then.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, maybe
What do you have from 26?
maybe your parents did this, which is why you were born, Catherine. That's all I can say.
Well, Simon, that's a bit naughty of you.
So now
That's a little bit
I'm going to
naughty.
play another 20s
I'm
song.
warning you, Catherine.
Close your ears if you don't want to listen. Close your ears. I know it's not 9 o'clock yet, but this was another big hit of the day. I'll play this one, then we'll play some more swing music. Yeah. So, and this one I'm going to do the an impersonation of the artist and see if you can tell me who it is. Right, here we go.
Every time I hear that march come blowing wind, I am always on the outside looking in. Maybe that is why I see the funny side when I see a fallen brother take a bride. When it makes a lot of people sad, but if you're not the groom, it's not so bad. Another bride, another June, another sunny honeymoon, another season, another reason for making whoopee. A lot of shoes, a lot of rice, the groom is nervous, he answers twice. It's really killing that he's so willing to make whoopee.
Well, I wonder if Catherine's parents danced to that. It would have been in vogue around that time. Okay, so I think we ought to play some music people can dance to. That's right.
Okay. So we've got some comments. Sue says, "How about Jukebox Jury?"
Jukebox Jury, yes.
Jukebox Jury.
That was another show, but I think that was more 50s as well, wasn't it?
The name Jukebox.
Oh, Jeff has got it. Eddie Cantor, spelled with a C, I believe.
With a C, yes.
With a C,
yes. Well done, Jeff. It's Eddie Cantor, and that was Making Whoopee.
Okay.
If you get to actually listen to the whole song, the lyrics are quite funny.
Yeah. I'm going to play a song from an artist who was big in the 20s, or making a name for himself at any rate, the wonderful and the great Fats Waller. So Ain't Misbehaving.
One and
now,
only.
it starts off slow and it gets a bit crazy near the end. So just be warned, if you're going to dance to it, it gets a bit crazy. So here we go. Ain't Misbehaving, Fats Waller, and let's just do whatever we can do to it. So it starts off nice and easy.
Should I start with you and then let you leave you halfway?
Absolutely.
I'm warning you.
misbehaving, saving my love for you, for you, for you, for you. I know for certain the one I love, I'm through with flirting, it's you that I'm thinking of. And it's behaving, saving my love for you. Like Jack Horner in the corner, don't go nowhere. What do I care? Your kisses are worth waiting for. With me, I don't stay out late, no place to go. I'm home about it, just me and my radio. And it's behaving, saving all my love for you.
Yeah, and misbehaving, the wonderful Fats Waller. Whoa. Right. We're almost coming up to time for our birthday jam. Is it anyone's birthday today? Is it anyone celebrating? Particularly if anyone was born in the 1920s, maybe you'd like to have a special request. I don't know. We've got some more messages
their birthday,
there.
but we've got Bonnie who's joined us and Nicola, the lovely Nicola. From Jazz Centre UK, is that right?
Yes, Jazz Centre UK, fantastic.
Hope all is
Definitely.
well and that you're dancing on the coast.
And I believe they are open. They're in Southend. And I
Yes.
saw something about them opening.
Oh,
Definitely
wonderful.
worth checking out.
Yes.
That it's a Digby Fairweather, and it's a jazz centre for the history of jazz in the UK.
Jazz music and dancing?
Jazz music and a little bit of dancing too.
And a little bit of
yes.
dancing.
So I think we've got some people from YouTube. Can you see who's there? We've got some more messages.
Well, I think we chatted about those messages because the last one is about Eddie Cantor with a K.
Ah, yes. Is it really with a K?
No, it's with a C.
With a C,
It's
yes.
with a C.
Yes,
It's
yes,
with a
yes.
C. But
Okay.
we can't get the pronunciation right.
No.
Wrong this way.
No, that's true. So who are the other greats of the day?
Well, maybe people can guess now. I'm not sure if they can see it now, but there were 4 people on the cover of today's show.
Aha!
Can you find them? We've played. I think you've played music by most of them, and not. No, actually, no.
Well,
about
I played
half
in
of
the
them.
intro. I
In the
played
intro,
some.
you've
but
played somebody.
it's not everyone heard it.
No,
but
no.
definitely the one on the left, not with a K, but with a C. But who are the other 3?
Who are the other 3? Let's.
And yes, which one was which? So it's very interesting that the 1920s really marked the era of the modern music. I think that's fascinating.
Yes.
It was the era of the modern music.
So
it was the decade
why,
because.
Why do you talk about it as the modern music as opposed to the 1910s?
Well, really, it was to do with the fact that the phonograph, which had been invented a few years before, a couple of decades before, hadn't really taken off and it wasn't really popular. And it was when they started to produce flat records as opposed to wax cylinders and things like that, that they really started to popularise and commercial radio. Commercial radio came around in that era, and they suddenly had radio broadcasts that went across the nation, and it changed. So before it was like song sheets and you'd had your song pluggers singing in a department store. They'd be singing that song,
Yeah.
and people would go and buy that song, or they'd see it in a show. So you had songs were made famous in shows. Like 1923, you had that famous show called Running Wild that featured a song called the Charleston. Yeah. So songs were made famous in shows. Songs were made famous on Broadway, and suddenly when
Everyone was playing it.
When TV, well, not TV, when film started, so people, a wider audience could catch on to what was really popular, and of course you had all sorts of wonderful artists. So in fact, in 1923, I've got to tell you this, in 1923, the American Society of Composers, Authors and Publishers started to require licensing for their fees to play their music on the radio because they weren't getting money from song sheets.
Oh yeah.
Which is what they used to get.
Interesting.
So a bit like,
and see
bit
where
like today.
we are now. Can't play anything.
It's all
We're
gone around.
cut off.
Yeah, we get cut off. Right.
So we have hello Emma, enjoy your noodles.
Oh, lovely.
And now we have
Noodles and noodles.
two guesses for the musicians on the artwork for tonight's show. We have Betty Boop. Now you're very close, Glenn. It's not Betty Boop, but it's the inspiration for Betty Boop. Now, who is she?
Yes, who's the inspiration?
Who is
Good
she?
one.
Maybe you can play something. And Gregory says Rudy Valentino. Now, I don't know that he was a musician, was he? I think he was only a dancer. He might have some
Rudolph Valentino.
Yeah.
Now, Rudolph.
And I have to say, it is not Rudolph Valentino on the poster. If that's what you guessed. But you were going to say something about Rudolph Valentino.
Yeah, well, it's quite interesting because exactly the chic. So you know how we use the term flappers.
Yes.
It was going to be a quiz question, but you've just given the answer.
Oh, sorry.
The question was flappers
Oops.
and what do they call the guys? Because flappers were obviously
Another
ladies.
well-prepared show.
Another well-prepared show. And of course, Rudolph Valentino starred in a movie called The
Chic.
And so they were known as sheiks. And I remember Frankie Manning telling me at the Savoy, there was a guy who would dress like the sheik. He had a very thin pencil moustache, his hair was all gelled back. He was always immaculately dressed, and his nickname was the Sheik, and he would walk around. And back then, I've seen some clips, like there's a Josephine Baker clip where she's dancing. In the background, you have a guy with a big turban on. So it was very exotic. It was an exotic period, you know.
Well, I think it's when
glamour.
When traveling sort of opened up a bit, and there were more news and pictures, and in films you could see, countries that you would never been to.
That's true.
And I think that there was the appeal for the Orient and whatnot, where only you'd heard about it maybe from a few people who'd gone before, but now you could see the pictures
Anna,
at the cinema.
I wonder if you could demonstrate for the people. I wonder if I get you to stand up, Anna, because this is also quite interesting.
What am I
with
demonstrating?
your flapper's dress.
Right.
So you can put the camera there.
I don't know what I'm in for. I'll
So
do my best.
you see, you're looking like a flapper because you've got much looser fitting clothes.
I do.
And
Dropped hip.
and slightly higher than the fashion of the Edwardian period, the 1910s. And so it allowed a freer sort of dancing. And can you give a 30-second demonstration of a Charleston?
Okay, with some high.
And this was really styling based on the clothing that people wore back then. And the gentleman, okay, you can stop now, it's enough, thank you. Thank you. The gentleman, should we give Anna a round of applause? So please, if you've got an applause emoji, if we'd like to give Anna a round of applause, just for dancing in beads. I think it's always a challenge because
Always
they
a
do fly
challenge, you
around.
have to keep an eye on them.
Yes.
But I have to say, I don't have the actual proper outfit for a flapper, not only because this is not very authentic, but the flappers I heard were called flappers because of their shoes rather than their dresses.
Yes.
And they were wearing those boots that they didn't lace up, and so it was flapping down on their ankles. Now, I'm not wearing that kind of boots at the moment.
But still, you're wearing, so do stay there. You're wearing very nice shoes anyway. Yes. So, very clever, you old diamond girl, you. So, so I didn't see much of a round of applause for you.
Oh.
Okay, well, I'll tell you what, I'm going to do the birthday jam, and after the birthday jam, we're not going to do the Shim Sham. What? We're not going to do the Shim Sham.
What?
Although, actually, funnily enough, the Shim Sham was created in 1927, but I thought we'd do the Charleston Stroll.
Okay.
So we'll do that instead. And I'm going to play this fella. Let me show Facebook. This
We
fella.
have a special guest star
Guest
for
star.
you tonight this way. He just made, he had an opening in his diary
Now, did we tell you that we actually went to his house?
I think we mentioned it once
Yeah,
twice.
we went to his house. It's in.
He's just the right size to dance with me if you keep him there.
Yes, that's true. Actually, you could dance together, couldn't you?
Oh, really?
He's in. Where's his house?
In New York, in
Was it Queens?
Queens, yes.
Queens.
Queens.
Okay, so we're going to
An
play
amazing experience it was too.
Muggles for the Birthday Jam by Louis Armstrong, and then we're going to do a Charleston Stroll, which you all know, so you can all join in. Right, let's get dancing.
Okay, if it's your birthday, happy anniversary, happy whatever you're celebrating.
Charleston Stroll. Yeah, Muggles.
Muggles.
Everyone join in. Here we go. You know what to do.
Yes, man, we decided, no man.
Charleston Stroll, so we hope you joined in with that. Next week, we of course are going to be going into the world of the 1930s. The glamorous, to me, the 30s was the glamorous age. I think that must have been a beautiful experience.
Oh, I've got nothing to wear, Simon.
Oh,
We can't do a show.
Well, we're going to have to get you a new outfit. I can see that.
Maybe.
I think some people have been clapping for you, Anna.
Thank
Or
you
was
very
it
much.
or was it for me?
Or was it for Simon?
Oh, you meant Rudy Valley. Oh, yes, he might
Oh,
be more
Rudy
30s.
Valley. Well, it's still not him on the poster, but yes, that was the musician.
Yeah, he had all
Might be
sorts
more
of people. didn't he? Really,
30s.
really. I mean, Duke Ellington. Duke Ellington was
yes.
very good.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He was okay, wasn't he?
Yeah,
He was all right.
he did quite well as well. Ruth Etting.
Catherine says, Catherine, whose parents got married in 1926, if I recall correctly.
Yes.
May 1926 says she was a flapper and Rudolph was an icon.
Yes, absolutely.
had,
I can imagine.
She probably had images of Rudolph Valentino pinned in her room, at least until they got married in 26.
Yeah.
Catherine Hiller, fabulous. And Ryan has joined us as well.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello. Okay.
Hello.
Right. Let's play something a little bit more. Now, this is actually quite good for Shag and Balboa. Although I
but
don't think they
I've
were doing
got a
Shag and Balboa
question.
back then.
We've danced some Charleston and a little bit of Black Bottom, but a lot of the music that you played was more for foxtrot and
Yes, Foxtrot was the big dance.
When did Charleston come into play? So we associate it with the 20s. Actually, it's more late 20s, isn't it?
Well,
To become a
mid
20s.
mid 20s. So of course people were dancing the Charleston before, and then in 23 it got popularised on the show Running Wild, and it lasted for about 2 years. However, having said it lasted for 2 years, where the Charleston was created, it lasted for 2 years. But by the time it got to England, it was like 5 years later.
Yeah.
So what was popular
spread.
in England for the Charleston had already sort of
Yeah.
was out of vogue in America. But it took a few more years to get across the
cross.
Atlantic. The boats were a lot slower then. I think it was a lot harder to row your way across. They didn't have the same sort of boats. So I think we should.
But they would have danced a lot of foxtrot, a little bit of tango.
Oh yes, tango
Also,
was big
along
in the
with
20s,
the
yes.
fashion for those exotic influences, tango.
Yes.
I've got the one with the funny hand.
Flamenco?
No, sorry, that's where you.
Paso Doble?
No, it starts with an M. In the
Merengue.
not merengue, but it sounds similar. And
Yes,
the
I know what you mean.
Mashish.
Mashish. Oh,
The
thank
mashish.
you. Of course, the mashish.
Mashish, although maybe that was
Very
a
impressed.
early.
Very impressed. You know about the mashish. Yes, I once had a very tiny guest lesson in the mashish, but I can't remember any of it. Except they used to have that funny handle,
Yeah, they had that
and they
funny
used to go around like
handshake,
this,
yes.
didn't they?
It's
Yes, that's
really
right.
odd.
I think that's one step we did.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was a real mixture of music.
Yeah.
Because you had people like the jazz greats.
Yeah.
Like Louis Armstrong and Bix Beiderbecke, who really created jazz. Well, I say created jazz. They really popularised two different styles of jazz. You had two cornet players who really made jazz what it is today. And then on the other hand, you had people like Ethel Waters, who was a singer, an entertainer, and you had Bessie Smith, who was a blues shouter, could pump out the old vocals. And they African American, and there were two different markets. There was an African American market, and they played that circuit, and they did very well on that circuit. And then there was, of course, the white circuit, which was a lot bigger, and that was the one that got on radio. And they called them like race records. And at first, like the white radio stations wouldn't play the other music. Eventually, years later, they had to play it because it became so popular. It's like an undercurrent. So there was all that, and you had people like Paul Whiteman who made jazz popular, but of course he wasn't really a jazz man. He was
Good musician,
good
but not really jazzy.
Not in the way of we think of jazz.
No.
He was,
But great music.
had a nice crooner with him, some guy
Yeah.
called Bing. Yeah, he was a pretty good crooner. So anyway, I tell
Now,
you some more
in that
music.
whole list of musicians, there's a couple that appear on the cover of today's show. Now, I'm going to show it again. Of course, it's only for you on YouTube, for the expensive
Quick, everybody,
seats.
dive over to YouTube. How do they get there?
It's youtube.com/SwingdanceUK.
And
YouTube.com/SwingdanceUK.
/SwingdanceUK.
So I'm going to show it to you again for a few seconds, and then we'll will come back. So you get another chance at guessing who the 4 artists is. So I think you gave away Eddie Kenter
Yes.
on the left with his recognizable eyebrows.
His eyes were...
Eyes and well,
Doing
but
this.
eyebrows because he can't move them on the picture, you see.
Yes.
But who are the other 3? So Glenn said Betty Boop. It's not Betty Boop. It's the inspiration for Betty Boop, but we still don't know who it is.
Should we give a clue?
Well, that was a big clue, wasn't it? The inspiration for Betty Boop.
That's true.
Especially as we mentioned it in last week's show. Right, and I'll come back to our normal picture. So let us know if you recognise any of the artists.
Okay, I think I haven't played... I'm going to go a little bit more modern. I'm going to play 2 songs, one after the other. So let me...
Now, Simon, we had people... Where did we have people joining from today? Germany.
Yes, Germany.
We had New York.
New York.
And now we have Santa Monica, California.
Whoa,
Welcome, Melvin,
Melvin,
checking in
hello,
from Santa
fantastic.
Monica. Fantastic.
Melvin, you get around. That's what I can say. Because one
That's
day he's in
true.
Chicago, next day he's in South Africa, the next day he's in Santa Monica. He must have
You do get around.
must have a job that makes you travel.
Oh, somebody deserves a round of applause. Jeff, it is Paul Whiteman with his, what do you call it?
And Stephen's got the other one?
Conductor's stick.
Baton.
Baton. It is Paul Whiteman and Steve, or Maureen actually. It is Helen Kane who was the inspiration for Betty Boop. So a round of applause. That was one for Jeff and another one for Maureen. Well done indeed. We're still missing one, the last. Cab Calloway. That's not Cab Calloway. It could have been with the baton, but that was actually Paul Whiteman.
Okay, I'm going to play 2 songs, one after the other, very different.
Uh-huh.
I'm going to say this one because I'm going to do a 1924 and it's called Oh Say Can You Swing? 1924. That's very early for that word. Wingy
Oh
Manone.
Say.
Oh Say Can You Swing? And it's great for a bit of the old Balboa and Shag. And then I'm going to play another song by the Delta Rhythm Boys, which we
is not
saw
from the
them.
20s.
No, but we saw them on a movie recently, didn't we? Is that the Delta Rhythm Boys?
No, it
Oh, that was
wasn't.
Cats and the Fiddle.
Yes.
Oh, very
they were
good too.
great.
But they...
Rubbish movie, but brilliant music.
Melvin doesn't work. Oh, he's just a globetrotter. He just enjoys himself. Fantastic. He's obviously a man of leisure. A man of leisure. Well done, Melvin. We can't wait for you to come back to London and join us on the dance floor here. So until then, we're
Let's
going to play
make some
2
music.
songs, Oh Say Can You Swing? And then we're going to do the Delta Rhythm Boys with 16 tons. So 2 different styles. Here we go.
Oh, say, can you swing when the sun is shining bright? After swinging all night on the floor, and at the famous door, say, can you swing when the stars lose their gleam? And the men see the tree at your back door. If your feet don't ever fail you when the night is done, we're so proud to call you public swing the number one. Say, can you swing when the sun rises bright? If you can, baby, you do it all right. Now, yes, it's swing the kind of back and forth.
Some people say a man is made out of mud. Poor man's made out of muscle and blood. Muscle and blood, skin and bone. A mind that's weak and the back that's strong. Load 16 tons, what do you get? Another day over and deeper in debt. Don't you call me 'cause I can't go. I owe my soul to the company store. 16 tons, what a load. I was born one morning when the sun didn't shine. I picked up my shovel and I walked through the mine. I loaded 16 times from number 9 gold. Straw boy said, well, I bless my soul. I loaded 16 tons, what do you get? Another day older and deeper in debt. Family, don't you call me 'cause I can't go. I owe my soul to the company store. 16 tons, what a load. I was born one morning with drizzling rain. Fighting trouble is my middle name. Raised in a cane, right oh my lion, ain't no high tongue woman make me walk the line. Lord, 16 tons, what do you get? Another day older and deeper in debt. Same, don't you call me 'cause I can't go. I owe my soul to the company store. 16 tons, what a load. See me coming, better step aside. A lot of men didn't, a lot of men died. One fist around and the other still hit the right one, and then the left one will load 16 tons. What do you get? Another day older and deeper in debt. Same, don't you call me 'cause I can't go. I owe my soul to the company store. 16 tons, what a load. 16 tons, what do you get? Another day older and deeper in debt. Saint Peter, don't you call me 'cause I can't go. I owe my soul the company store. 16 tons, the company store. 16 tons, 16 tons. What a load, what a load.
Yeah, 16 tons. Whew. Delta Rhythm Boys. So, popular bands of the 1920s. Yes, Paul Whiteman, Nat Shuret, Ben Burney, Ben Selvin, Isham Jones. Lots of popular bands. Fletcher Henderson, of course, who, of course, was the big arranger for Benny Goodman. Leo Reisman, Ted Lewis, Rudy Valley. Yes, you're right, Rudy Valley. Well, who mentioned Rudy Valley? But you were correct. Rudy Valley actually was one of the bands. Yes, Gregory. So well done, Gregory. You were quite right.
And Jeff is on form. He found the last musician on the banner, which was Bessie Smith.
Right.
Blues singer Bessie Smith.
So, I love that "Oh Say Can You Swing." That was a really good song, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was very good.
1924 for "Can You Swing." That was early. They were cutting edge. So let me see what else I've got to play. I wanted to play, of course, some other things that were very. I mean,
Is there a vote
Isham
coming,
Jones.
Simon?
Isham Jones.
Do we have to choose which is
It
the
had to be
next
you.
song?
No, I'm just going to play it.
Oh, well.
But it's not going to be a whole song. Just
What
play
do you
a
think?
little bit.
You're the DJ or what?
Maybe.
I haven't recognised it.
So really, it had to be you. That was a ragtime version. And I think that's so fascinating because the ragtime, that was walking. They would have been trotting around the dance floor doing their step, 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 step. So it's interesting, that sort
I
of
don't
different
recognise
style.
the theme. I'm not sure if it's the same theme or if it's just the same name of the song. To be you. Oh yes, there it is.
But that was from the 20s, and boy, did it
Wonderful.
change.
It's great to find the history. Every time you find an older version, and a lot of people nowadays hear pop songs and then they discover that the song that it comes from in the 70s or 80s, and that comes back from a song to a song from the 50s, and then you discover it goes further back.
Absolutely.
And probably before that, but we just don't have a record.
Now, here's a little whisper of Paul Whiteman with one of his most famous songs called Whispering. So this was the style of Paul Whiteman. Whispering. Shh, don't tell everyone. Keep it a secret. Very jolly, very jolly. So I can imagine in some lovely hotel ballroom, Paul Whiteman would have been playing and people would have been dancing around the floor, doing their foxtrot and Peabody and doing their sort of one step around the floor.
Yeah.
Versus what would have happened in some more sort of I don't know, speakeasy. Because this was the era of the speakeasies, the 1920s.
Same period, different.
And you may have had this lady who you mentioned is on the cover of your screenshot today. The wonderful Bessie Smith.
And that's Downhearted Blues.
Oh, she shouts it out.
It's too painful.
So I guess they would have been doing a much slower dance, probably just in a close embrace, just stepping, maybe listening to that one.
Yeah, maybe.
But of course, Ma Rainey and CeCe Ryder was a little bit, bit of a saucy song in its day. CeCe Ryder. I think Ma Rainey was one of the first of the what do they call it? Because she went both ways.
Oh yes. Yeah.
So
well, she wasn't the first one, but
LBG,
she was one of the first.
Well, she
famous for it.
She got a
I
little.
think it goes back a
no,
long way.
No. Okay, what I meant was first musicians of that era to sort of get references in her song. So it's CeCe Ryder. So. Okay, so yeah, it's not really danceable in my opinion. Not dancing as we know. Plus the quality is not great, is it?
Yeah.
So I think let's finish off with something we can dance to. Of course, we did have fun songs like Yes We Have No Bananas, but we're not going to go there today because there isn't time. So we are going to go.
You mean we have bananas?
Yeah. Well, we have bananas. Yes. What should we play? What do you fancy?
Right.
Have you got
Oh, it has to be the last song, doesn't it?
Yes, it's the
Oh,
last
dear.
song.
So let's play some 20s, but what do we have?
Something from the 20s.
What are you offering?
We've got. Well, this is a good one. Benny
This is quite nice.
Carter.
Didn't-
Oh no, that's
we didn't
36.
play
Okay, how about Shake That Thing from Barbecue Joe,
Okay.
or the Black Bottom? What about
Oh,
the Black Bottom?
Let's have the
Okay,
Black
let's do a
Bottom.
Black Bottom.
So tell
1926.
us briefly what the Black Bottom was, just before we play
Well,
the song.
that came in another show, and I forgot the name of the show, but it came out a couple of years after the Charleston, and it was meant to be the next big Charleston, and it was big, but it wasn't quite
Not
as big.
as big, yeah.
And they said it represented a cow walking in the mud. There's
Who
an old
said that?
Pathé News, or not Pathé News,
maybe.
but one of those news broadcasts.
Somebody said.
Somebody said. Back in the day,
It
this
was a fun dance and lots of cheeky moves and lots of shimmies in it.
So should we dance a little Black Bottom for them?
Sure.
And everyone come and join us. Last song, let's get up and do a Black Bottom. Next week we're going into the 1930s. Have you anything? I forgot to tell you, we didn't tell about our week, and we didn't tell you about
We
what
didn't say
we've been up to.
anything. What-
We've
we
been up
didn't
to a
say
lot
anything.
of things, but you'll have to find out next week. So here we go, the Black Bottom.
Yeah. Thank you, John, who's enjoying the show.
Everybody up, let's dance. Let me the part of this. Thank you so much, everybody. Oh, today has been a crazy going into the jazz age, to the 1920s. This was Welcome to Our Speakeasy. In fact, if you want to know what's behind the curtain, you have to knock 3 times and ask for Joe, and you get let into the speakeasy. Well, we're off there now. Excuse me. we're going to be off to our speakeasy, and we hope all of you have got somewhere good to go. Is there a message from John?
There is a message who's John, who's kindly saying that he's enjoying the show with history element and no scripting. Definitely no scripting. However, you need to reverse the camera as you're leading with your right. We are aware. You say you have to click the right button. We've never found the right button.
No, it's only been a year.
It's only been a year and a bit.
So what's the right button?
What is the right button? Because we've tried a number of things. Now we can show you the back of the camera, but I don't think that's what you mean. We have tried that.
We could do it in the mirror.
We could do it in the mirror. Somebody suggested. But we don't seem to have a button to simply reverse it. And we tried the settings, we tried all, and we never found it.
Thank you, Glenn. Thank you. Good night. And thank you so much for coming. We appreciate
Thank
all
you
of
very
you
much.
who
Yes.
come and enjoy the show.
Yes,
and
indeed.
If John, if you want to check out YouTube, it's not
We're in the
reversed.
right-
We're in the
right
right way.
direction.
Right way around.
We're like this.
We're like this, yes. Plus, you get bonuses because you get little pictures and little things that you made, didn't you? The bonus.
You do.
Bonuses.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Extra bonus.
So sadly, that's the end of this show.
Oh.
Next week, actually, I don't know if we're going to be dancing, but we're going to be here.
We'll be here and
We'll
play
be
music.
here and we'll play music.
We might ask you to dance a bit more next week.
Yes.
We'll clap you in. We'll
Oh,
count you in.
John's going to email. Thank you, John. You're a
Thank
star.
you very
We
much.
appreciate
That's
that.
fantastic.
It's only
Yes.
taken us a year to find out where this is, but if you're the expert, we appreciate it. Gosh, thank you so much. This is Swing at Sway from Simon and Anna. Check out swingdanceuk.com. Over the next 2 months, we're going to be doing lots of changes to our website, and we've got lots of plans. It's in the making as we speak. We are working and beavering away behind the curtain. That's what's behind the curtain. Beavering away on our computers. Right, how can we do that if we're here? But never mind. It's the wonder and magic of
The
technology,
curtain.
the curtain.
Of the curtain.
Thank you, folks. Bye.
Thank you. Good night. See you next week.